Oh, wow. Hello. Well, welcome back to the Knock It Long podcast, season 2, episode 5. And for people that like to keep a record up, we're on episode 22 of our journey to 100 million subscribers, which we are very, very far from. So please like, subscribe, and follow the podcast. Anyway, in today's podcast, well, you're joined by myself and the editor-in-chief, Mr. Taylor, and myself, Mr. Wilshire. We refuse to give away our first few names on this for privacy reasons, but I'm sure if you listen to the other podcasts, they will be dropped at some point. But today we're going to reflect on the last couple of weeks of the Premier League. Manchester United, well, I wouldn't say smash and grab, beating Manchester City in the Pep Guardiola backyard. 1 win in 11 for the Manchester City vehicle. Are we coming to the end of Man City's dominance of the last 8.5 years in the Premier League? Other things to reflect on, well, we're heading into a busy not international, that's far away. Heading into a busy Christmas period for lots of matches with a Carabao Cup and then into lots of league games over the next few weeks as we enter our Christmas pies and Christmas turkeys. That might be more mince pies and Christmas turkeys instead. And also, as well, we will reflect on the sacking of Gary O'Neill. Was it an impossible job at Wolverhampton? The players fighting at the end yesterday at Ipswich Town as they got their second win of the season. But anyway, first of all, I will welcome back Mr. Taylor. How are you?
Hello, Tom. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Good to see you. This is a visual podcast, this one. I've got to say... Yeah.
Second time we've ever done this. We had a couple of other people do this in our Christmas special, but we're going to try and do this. We're going to go a little bit more onto YouTube and other media platforms beyond just our traditional Spotify.
Yeah, quite right. Absolutely. I've got to say, you've got a good video presence. Do you have a lot of experience with Teams and Zoom calls, can I ask?
I do, yes. I do not have OnlyFans, though.
Okay, you don't? So, okay.
I'm very much professionally on Microsoft Teams for my job.
That's absolutely fine, and I accept that as an answer.
What have you been up to this fine weekend, anyway? Before we dive into the football.
What have I been doing? I saw my brother and his. That's a very personal question. Firstly, Tom, but I did see my brother, who came
personal
down.
Kind of,
sorry.
I'm a personal kind of manager. What can I say?
God. Okay, that's fine. But anyway, shall I go into this? Brother came down and he brought a dog, and it smelled not very nice. I usually like dogs.
Dear. What kind of dog is it?
It's a spaniel.
Oh, I quite like spaniels. My minimum requirement is you can't have a handbag dog like a Chihuahua or something. That to me is where I go. Is that a dog or is that another type of animal? But I don't want to, if you have Chihuahuas and you like this podcast, please feel listen. We're happy to have Knock It Long Chihuahuas as well, who will go bark bark as they hear Pep Guardiola's meltdown of 1 win in 11. Look at that, very nicely tangented in to that. But so your brother came with a dog.
Yeah, that's right. But anyways, that's about as interesting as it got. How about yourself? You've been over to the land of Tuchel? Have you not?
Yes. I did.
Where have you been?
Frankfurt. We were in Frankfurt, and we're supposed to be running a race there, but we postponed it by a couple of months. And we're now doing it in another German city called Karlsruhe in the start of March. So I've already started my training in the last couple of weeks for that, clearly taking it highly seriously when you're drinking Campden Hells.
Yeah.
We are not sponsored by them on this podcast, but we're open to any promotional offers that people would like to make. But yes, we went to drink a bit of Glühwein, did a bit of walking. It was very cold there on the Saturday or yesterday. And yeah, it was good fun.
Any Frankfurt footballers that come to mind off the bat?
Luka Jovic.
I was thinking the same.
Luka Jovic used to play there. They won the Europa League 2.5 years ago. Yeah. They beat Rangers on penalties, I think, I think they beat Rangers on penalties.
That's true.
Because Joe Aribo scored and then they equalised, and then
Aaron Ramsey playing for Rangers that day.
Yeah, he's really had a career. I don't know where he's in.
He's in Cardiff. Cardiff.
Back where his career started.
Yeah.
But he's a guy that's fallen off really, but
I don't think he's fallen off. I mean, he's approaching his 5th decade of life. as you like to put it. So I think he's well earned his rest, particularly after his injury early in his career. But anyhow.
Well, let's get into what the purpose of this podcast is, which is generally a football thing, and not whether people go on an aeroplane or their brother brings a smelly dog into the house. But anyway, football. Put the ball in the goal. Yes, that's the key thing of football: scoring more goals than your opponent.
Yeah.
We're going to start and reflect on the last couple of weeks. How have things been going for Arsenal Football Club?
It's a good question. I thought with the return of Odegaard and a bit more stability early on, with our back four coming back, that we were in for at least a run of 12. A run of 12 wins. But it's not happened. We've had...
Beat Man United.
Yes, we beat Man United. But from that, we had issues with Gabriel, who's been our highest performing defender this season. He's been out for the last 4 games. He came back today.
What happens the game after United?
Fulham away.
Drew 1-1.
Drew 1-1, where I think, they had an XG of like 0.01. Raul scores a goal from an unbelievable angle from their first chance and only chance of the game. If you've seen the goal, it's a remarkable finish, and he won't do that again in his career. But never mind.
Actually, particularly at Craven Cottage, they're a well-coached side.
They are a well-coached side, but I think we dominated. I think the same issues. Well, obviously, we played Everton yesterday. The same issues we saw at Fulham happened today. Complete domination. I mean, if you look at the touches in the box, it's something like 50 versus 5. Same sort of stats against Fulham. We're not, and I'm starting to think we don't.
As deluded as you are.
Sorry?
As deluded as you are.
I'm not deluded. I'm not deluded. The last 2 seasons, we've done exceptionally well to push a remarkable bankrolled side. Bankrolled, just like a friend of ours. But this team, Man City, have been... to push them in any capacity is quite something, especially when you have the youngest team in the league and the youngest manager in the league. So you would have hoped...
Not in the league anymore, because
who's the manager?
Ruben Almiron is younger than Arteta.
Well, that's true. But at the time, Amorim's had a bit more experience in football. I mean, he did some sort of weird apprenticeship coaching scheme and then went to Sporting. So this is Arteta's first job, first managerial job. So I think what he's done with Arsenal the last few years is really amazing. But that's why I would have hoped for this season that we would have pushed on, but we lack, and I think this is now true, we lack someone up front who can really make the difference. I think Saka is an amazing, incredible player, and in the Champions League he's got numbers up there with Ronaldo and Messi for his effectiveness. But he's a very efficient player, very good at sort of following instructions, but we're not quite making the difference. I think Martinelli's just had a poor couple seasons now. Saw it yesterday again, a couple of chances where you just hope... you just can see a top team. I mean, even watching Diallo today, there's a player that could finish some of these chances. We just need some of these chances to go in. Havertz again, unfortunately, I think that project, he was initially supposed to be a midfielder. I think that project now, we've got to move on now. Jesus is the same issue. 1 goal in, 33? Or for 22 or something? 1 goal in 22?
Jesus looks a shadow of the player he is. He looks very...
It's poor.
He looks like a guy that needs to be moved on. I know he has lots of metrics and works hard, but Saka, I agree with you. Saka is a very, very. I realise I have to put my glasses on, otherwise I can't see. And you've got vision,
but it's a worry. It is a worry. But I think that the good thing is that we can, even if they're not firing, I do trust us now to hold a clean sheet. But we just got to create more chances. We've got to create more chances. In open play, and I do think we can still win the league. I think Arteta is so good that he's able to problem solve, and his coaching team is so good. I mean, we have the best. We're such a good coaching team. I think testament to Arteta's managerial ability to make all the coaches feel like they're just as important as him almost.
I think it depends what happens over Christmas. Liverpool have dropped 4 points in the last kind of couple of
I
weeks,
mean,
so,
exactly.
so, but again, they're grinding out results when they're down to 10 men for most of the game against Fulham yesterday.
Yeah.
Chelsea, to me, are the form team in the league at the moment.
Who's that? Chelsea. Yeah.
Chelsea are. Yeah, I mean, is it still 1-0 Chelsea in the game?
Let's have a look. Okay, live update from Mr. Wilsh on Chelsea versus Ball. What's the score?
It is still 1-0, and Spurs are remarkably 5-0 up still and haven't conceded. So there we go.
That's a wow.
That is like, we don't quite have I don't quite have 9 pundits stood around me where there's a sort of cheer like Football Focus or Final Score. They go, "Oh, there's a goal! Look at it! Clyde versus Inverness," or something like that. Unfortunately, we don't quite have that, but we are building in that direction.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Once again, Dr. Pemberton not here for, I think, personal.
Back in the United Kingdom as well. I'm seeing him on Thursday actually in London, so I'll give him a pep talk there.
Okay.
Recommend that he bucks his ideas up.
Yes.
Availability up for that. Important if you work in the football podcasting world that we do on episode 22 of our podcast journey. But anyway, let's say Arsenal have dropped it. Arsenal have fallen. Looking at the other teams, let's go. And Liverpool drew 2-2 yesterday. Andy Robertson, I believe, got sent off.
Yeah.
In that game, Fulham were taking points off many of the big sides this season. Seem to be doing pretty well. Chelsea, as we say, are winning at the moment. Seem to be in very good form. They've got such squad depth there that they've almost got 30, 35 players that they can rotate. I looked at their team that started against Astana in Kazakhstan. And the rotation that they have is incredible. I mean, none of these players play in the Europa League, or very, very rarely do. And they've got players like João Felix, who are basically bench warmers, who they can pay 45 million for. They've got very good depth. Madueke is really progressed. Neto, Palmer, Mudryk. I mean, their depth is phenomenal in these attacking positions. And Nicholas Jackson is looking like a really good striker now as well for them. So Chelsea, to me, are a real threat for the title now, and Maresca can try and defend this, but they are title contenders now with this. And obviously the volume of football that we're seeing going on now, like I said, are really interesting. I think we're 4 games into the month now, and I think it's 9 games are played this month. 5 games into this month. So we've got 4 more games to go.
I think 2 things on just to add to you on Chelsea is the phenomenal thing is how Maresca's been able to keep everyone feeling. I mean, we don't hear anything about bust ups or crises underneath it.
Well coached and a good manager there.
But I can't imagine for a second someone like João Felix isn't pissed off that he's not a starter. The guy was 100. How much did he cost to go to Atletico Madrid? It was something like $1
million or so. He was the replacement for
incredible. And that guy is now, a Europa League player. And he's an amazing player. The other thing is Chelsea do concede a lot. They concede in, if you look at the last 10 fixtures, I reckon, there might be only 1 or 2 clean sheets in there, which shows there might be a little bit of vulnerability. But I agree. I think Thomas Frank said it as well. They're the best team in the league at the moment.
They are.
Yeah.
They're very well. Again, actually, I looked at the league table post United beating City. That league table is getting really tight again from sort of 4th to 12th, certainly, because Forest are there. If I look at this, I'll pull up a league table now. I mean, really, from 3rd to 12th, we're talking about an 8-point difference. Sorry, between 3rd to 13th, we're talking about 8 points in there at the moment now. So it's not. It's still
great.
Still pretty close within that. I mean, the next 4 games are going to be the next run of league games. Obviously Christmas break is always big. with that, because then we go into FA Cup. And again, remember, like European football now basically play throughout the whole year. It normally finishes in December and gets quiet for the remainder of December and January. But now, because of this new format in Europe, um,
Yeah.
it's and I have to say, I mean, if we touch very briefly, I mean, Arsenal have been very good in the Champions League,
Yes.
minus a couple of games. I think you're third or fourth in the league
Third,
table.
yeah, third on goal difference, yeah.
You got some remarkable teams there, like Brest in France, who are in the top eight there,
Yeah.
who able.
Yeah.
And there's some amazing things actually. What this is doing, like they supposedly it will double their. And I'm not saying this is. And there's some other teams doing very well in there, like Lille, but Brest, for example, quite a small club. They're going to double their revenue by if they get to the last 16 or can qualify in that top eight. In the next two games are Celtic and, if I'm right, it's Celtic and Villa.
So that's possible.
Possible. So if they think they get one more win, yeah, I mean, hopefully they do. But I'm really pro the new format. I like the fact that you're playing 8 different teams in the competition, and that we're seeing a set of teams that really no one would watch, but make some real inroads. And we're seeing teams like City, PSG, Juventus, some really big hitters, not walk through their group, and in some cases really struggle to get out. I mean, Liverpool have been the only team that've been flawless.
Yeah.
In the Champions League, Chelsea have been flawless in the Europa Conference. But I mean, Chelsea are basically playing their third 11 in that tournament. And I'm very surprised with the whole thing.
Yeah. I was a little like at the beginning. I mean, were you straight into it? Did you enjoy it straight away? Because I was a bit like I like waiting for the big games. I don't want to see Arsenal play Real Madrid in the first 2 fixtures. But actually, now I'm on board. I guess the issue is then for the players. I mean, it's how many? It's 2 more extra games, isn't it? Really, for them.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, look, it's potentially 4, right? If you end up between 9th and 24th.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's another 2 games. So
that's like a cup final. I mean, at this point, I mean, we're having players drop every 2 minutes. So to get,
I mean, most they went off in 11 minutes. I mean, the guy's sadly he's a good player, but he's injury prone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, look, the quality. It's when you get these players like Bruno Fernandes, or these players that have got this ability to play 70 games a season for club and country. It's incredible. I mean, we were talking about this ourselves last week. You got the Club World Cup as well in the summer. Just ludicrous. And I think a lot of players have spoken out, going, well, they will either just not go, or maybe Chelsea have got such squad depth they can afford to do it. But I mean, it's just, it's crazy to me, really, how this is all.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes such a benefit to have a big squad, and so there's got to be some sort of restrictions on teams like Chelsea. I mean, they have literally got 3 world-class teams. I'm pretty sure all 3 of their teams would probably stay up in the Premier League. So there's got to be some sort of restriction on the size of a squad. I mean, I don't know how many Chelsea graduates, academy graduates, are in that squad. It might be, I mean, I don't know if Chalobah is or something, but it just feels like that's ridiculous.
So
is he? So they've got, yeah, right. So they it doesn't seem quite fair at the moment, and they may have just snuck in before there's some sort of rule changes. But it'll be interesting how Chelsea deal with it next year when they're in the Champions League. Yeah.
Shall we move on to Manchester City next? And how they are.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, first of all, can I just ask you the question straight off out the gates, if that's the phrase? How confident before this game kicked off were you that United could get a result?
Actually, very. Yeah, I thought even with United's form, I thought we could get something, because I just 1 win in 10. And the games I've watched, like Juventus in the week, or parts of the games I've watched, yeah, I mean, look, Erling Haaland, who said remain humble. I mean, Erling, remain humble yourself, mate, because you really are eating humble pie. Currently, 1 win in 11 at the moment.
Since he said that,
they just didn't have. I don't know. They look shot of confidence. I think a lot. What's happened is a lot of players are the wrong side of 29-30 now. KDB's 30, 33. Like Kyle Walker's 33, 34. These guys have been performing at an elite level for 6, 7, 8 years. A lot of them are, that intensity, what we were just discussing previously, to maintain that ability is really tough. And they've got a lot of very good technical players. But they've got players like Foden who got nearly, I think, 30 goals last year, who's fallen away as well. They've obviously lost Rodri as well, so we know that the turnaround in midfield is much easier. Gundogan's 34. I mean, they've got quite an old squad now. And United are relatively, despite some of their results, are pretty well coached now under Ruben Almiron. And I mean, it's been a pretty quick baptism of fire for him. I think he's only been in the club for about 3 weeks. We've played 7 games already, won 4, drawn 1, lost 2. But I was pretty confident going into this game that we'd get a result. And actually United were, I don't think were that great, but were the better team. They had 50% possession. The Etihad had more expected goals. As we touched upon, Amad Diallo had probably the best game of his United career so far. I mean, he was electric. I mean, the two moments in the game. There were 3. I mean, the 3 moments. There's one moment where he just bursts past, but goes past Josef Guardiola and Nunes and runs about 50 yards and puts the ball in. No one's in there.
Yeah. It's a fantastic trial for us ahead of January for him to come to Arsenal.
He won't come to Arsenal. I mean,
we're desperate for a left winger, and I think he's out. He's too good.
He's the same position as Saka, so he wouldn't come.
Well, he scored his 2 goals though today. I mean, his both his sort of things came from sort of off the left. He was sort of coming in off the left.
Well, he's very good with both feet. He's very good with both feet, so he can.
So I think he might fit us very nicely if we want to look down at some feeder clubs, sort of thing.
Well, I don't think there. But look, anyway, I thought it could be a real. I've seen a lot of false dawns post Ferguson, so I was very happy for an hour after the game. But and there was some really good. The back 5 were very good today. Onana didn't do anything. Didn't have anything. He made 1 save for Foden. And then picked the ball out of his net. He's lost a bit of confidence, I think, post the Forest game and his error in the week in Czechia.
What did you make of the starting lineup then? No Rashford, no Garnacho. Were you surprised?
I mean, I didn't. Well, the team leaked last night as well, by the way.
Was it this exact one?
The team that was leaked, it got leaked to City.
Jesus.
Pretty much leaked by some agent or something who was unhappy with one of their players not playing, I guess.
Oh my god!
City fielded a very attacking team on that basis, which is why you had KDB, Bernardo, Foden, Doku, all of these guys attacking, and Gundogan. Right, there wasn't really a sitting player there, and then they had Matthias Nunez playing left back, which is probably the mismatch or sort of inverted left back. So. It was a defensive back 4, but I have to say the back 3 in particular, Delo wasn't brilliant, but Mazraoui again just very solid. He very rarely gets beaten.
Yeah.
And he's been a wonderful signing. Maguire and De Ligt were really good. They're really good in the physical battles with Haaland. Martinez was really good as well. So it was just a very solid
shock horror. Yeah.
Ugarte, I think, is a very good midfielder. He was really solid as well. He was the best midfielder on the pitch.
Yeah, he and I actually thought against Arsenal when I had a proper look at him, I thought he looked very good. Yeah,
he's what you want of a number 6. Breaks the game up. Really good tackling statistics. Keeps the ball simple. Can actually also pass and get forward a little bit as well. He's had a couple of assists this season. But he's doing. I mean, you got some ridiculous fans writing him off after about 2 games. He's really proving.
I mean,
to be
it just showed Eric got some squad selection things wrong, didn't he? No, not really saw a Diallo apart from in the FA Cup games, and Ugarte.
He had played this season, to be fair, but he was in and out.
Right. But now he's like the first player on the team sheet.
But I mean that right side is pretty secure with Amad and Mazraoui and.
True.
But again, I mean, even to be fair, actually, even some of the squad players that came on today. I mean, Anthony gets so much banter and look, he's not. Been I mean, he's a one-trick pony, but he came on today and he worked hard and actually has some quite nice 1-2s with Amad down the right. clearly some problems. Kobe Mainu did very well coming on for Mason Mount. He's coming back. I think Mainu and Agate could be a really nice partnership there once if they can both stay
Yeah,
fit.
true.
Um,
It is looking like it could be good. It does look like it could be good, but yeah, actually, we've got to highlight Mount. I mean, you're going to name everyone, but we've got to highlight Mount. I mean, that is. I have to say, I feel sorry for the guy actually at this point.
I think 25 years of age, the guy that 2-3 years ago was one
England.
of the first names on the England FA Cup final, so Premier League, Champions League winner with Chelsea.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 25. This guy should be not even the peak of their powers.
Yeah. He's done.
But I think, I don't know. I mean, Luke Shaw to me is done. I think we should move Luke Shaw on, or in whatever way. And I think you're seeing that with Ruben Almiron there. I think there's probably an early stage now.
Yeah. Bless you. Bless you. We have a no sneezing policy on this podcast, and you've broken that. But
I don't. I set the rules, so no.
No, we have a board process with the rules.
My nasal capacity needs to sneeze. My nasal capacity will sneeze. Well,
we want to apologise to the listener. You do not deserve to be treated like that, nor do you deserve to hear the sort of that noise that Tom's nose makes.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Yeah.
But
subscribe,
like, and follow the Knock It Long podcast. There you go. We've learned the adverts on this thing to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, look, it was a good steady performance. If we can beat Spurs in the quarterfinals, the Carabao Cup, and the Champions League places are not out of reach if we can win 3 or 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
And get ourselves in the. We've got some tough games. We've got Liverpool away, and we've got to go to Arsenal in the FA Cup. So
that's very difficult.
He's got a tough start, actually, Ruben Almiron. Like, he's played 3 of the top in the league. He's played 3 of the top 5 already, away and home. So Forest, Arsenal, and City.
Forest, I mean.
Yeah, but Forest are 4th in the league. They're 2 points off Arsenal. I mean, they're not. Like,
it's funny though, because we thumped them at home. When they came to us, we thumped them 3-0, and I thought, well, this is just a red herring, this whole thing.
Yeah, but I mean, they're clearly not. He tactically outsmarted Ruben Almiron last week at Old Trafford. Like, he was very smart, Nuno, the way he coached. All the games United used to play against Wolves, they were always very, very tight. They were always 1-0.
Yeah, he's a good man. Yeah.
Like, he's not a bad coach. I mean, fair play to him. I mean, they're pretty much safe already in the. Chris Wood is having quite a renaissance with that. But I think, look, United, it was a great result. We need to go and try and beat Ange. And look, if you're United, right, the last time Spurs came up and they spanked United at Old Trafford in September, if that's not motivation to go and get a result, I don't know what is. And Spurs are so up and down as a team.
I mean, exactly. What's the score? We'll do a score check for us quickly on Spurs.
Quick check for our teams quickly. Let's have a quick look. Chelsea double their lead. I saw that.
Who's
2-1? Chelsea there. Very good. 2-1. Brentford there.
Yeah, fair enough. Again, Chelsea can't keep a clean sheet. But then, but what?
They cannot. No, you're right. You are
they
correct.
really can't. Where are you off to?
Getting called by someone. I was saying with my mum.
Oh, okay.
No, very good. Don't worry, thank you.
Who is it? Is it Dr. Pemberton? And he's apologising for some of his recent activities. And
2 goals in the last. Well, they were scored in the 88th minute and the 90th minute. And City look in really bad form. I think if you're playing City home or away at the moment, you've got a chance of getting a result. And it's probably our biggest win of the season, biggest moment of the season so far. And Garnacho, Rashford not being in the squad due to disciplinary or poor training.
Do you think it is down to disciplinary or poor training?
Well, he said it was training. He said they didn't train well enough. That's why they weren't in the squad.
He said that. Wow.
So I think I was saying it earlier. You looked at some of these guys. So Arteta early on with some of the players he dealt with. I mean, to me, I've thought for the last year we need to move Rashford on now, for the amount we pay him in wages, for what we get out.
His value has tanked in the last 2
I
years.
think if you got 50 million quid for him, I'd move him on, or even 40. I think the
Yeah,
amount of money
40
he's
sounds about right.
and his attitude and everything, I just don't think we've got players like Amad who really want to do. Garnacho to me, I think is a very good player. I think he's 20, right? He can be coached, and I think he's got a really good coach there in Ruben Almiron.
Yep.
To coach the side, but
Yeah.
yeah, look, let's see. We've got Spurs in the week, then Bournemouth at home. You win a couple more of those, and then things start to look relatively positive going into the
Yes.
festive period.
Well, but I must say, under the surface, Tom, all is not well at Man United. I mean, last week we learnt of the removal of Mr. Ashworth by Sir Jim Rat. I think just sorry,
full name, Jim Ratcliffe, full naming.
Sir Jim
instead of
Rat.
Fly digging at Jim Ratcliffe.
No, I'm not. I think look, I think it was a couple of podcasts ago we talked about his political position. I'm not going to go into it here, but some of his judgment has been poor. He's stacked your board full of the most, egotistical or sorry.
Best in class.
Best in class, and that's had an issue, and we talked about this in the podcast a while ago. I think what we said was too many chefs, and that was reported by Simon Stone of the BBC. Too many chefs, and that's coming from internally. They believe that is the issue. And the thing is with this is internal issues do ultimately have a problem on the pitch. There's many of examples of that with Arsenal about these issues with Aubameyang, Özil, Guendouzi, even potentially one of the reasons for Arsenal's poor start to the season, apart from ridiculous refereeing decision, red cards, which we won't see again and haven't, was maybe some stuff with Edu and what's going on behind the scenes, because he's now left, and there must have been, that causes some ruptures. So I don't think Jim Rat's got this right, and I wonder if you think that these is sustainable situation with the chefs. Well, not the chefs, but with the
one less chef in the kitchen.
Thank you.
I think the Dan Ashworth saga isn't great because United chased him for many months. They would chase him for 6 months while he was at Newcastle, and he only survived. He
was on garden duty as long as he's actually been in posts.
I think he was on gardening duty more than the length of time he was
at. Oh, is that right?
But look, I think what happened is, I think probably you have Barada and Wilcox who have a relationship from Man City. They're probably quite close.
Yeah, that's
Chris
good.
Vell, who's the ex-Chelsea technical director.
Yep.
There, and then you've got Jean-Claude Blanc, who's an ex-CEO of PSG, and has very senior, or Juventus and PSG had very senior roles. You've got Dave Brailsford as well, who is this sort of cycling guru and is trying to apply to another sport. And then you've got one of Britain's richest men. It's a lot of ego and a lot of testosterone around the room.
Yeah.
No, I think.
And there's problems. There's problems.
Yeah, but United have been dealt a very bad card by the Glazers. I think the Ashworth thing looks messy, but at least they're doing.
It's nothing to do with the Glazers. This is poor from the top. There's obvious conflicts within 6 months.
All of this does stem from the Glazers because the Glazers didn't put football men in charge. They put bankers
going on. And so you are now saying, what are you saying then for the long term of Man United for the rest of this season? Are you saying that the football, you don't think this will impact the football and Amorim is too good? You'll be able to navigate through this.
I think financially we're running very close to the wind on PSR. That's a fact. So the finances need to be. So if there's an opportunity, there's been a lot of talk about United selling Delo for 50 million to raise money.
One of your best players, yeah.
Been very solid for the last 15, 16 months, certainly, or probably the last 2 years. So I would like to keep Delo because I think it's been very good.
Yeah.
If you got 40 million for Rashford, bye-bye. There's the door. Pure profit, he would be pure profit. It would be 325 grand for the wage bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some indispensables. I think Almiron, look, they've acted decisively on some things. That they removed Ten Hag when it's probably not been working for 9 months, and they did go and buy, I think, probably one of the best coaches in Europe, done by stats,
Yes,
in
true.
terms of also young
Oh,
coaches. So
can I jump in on that then? Because also the another thing on Amorim, the purchase of Amorim, Jim Rat didn't know that this guy. They didn't know you had to pay a release clause, or no, sorry, not release clause. He didn't know there was a
sorry, one of the
notice
reasons
period.
Ash, one of the big things on, apologies, I need to
You,
oh, jingle
God, that
bells. Apologies, this is the wintry flu season.
is it flu? You don't seem
It's a
to have any
cold.
other symptoms of flu.
No, I'm just sneezing, but yes, Camden Hells will help. Of course we do that. Yes, I've
This
had
is
one
water
bit,
from the British tap.
probably from Thames Water, but or wherever your local borough is. I won't reveal your location.
Thank you.
But no, in terms of that, supposedly one of the other reasons Jim Ratcliffe was really frustrated by the managers that were recommended by Dan Ashworth, because he supposedly wanted Eddie Howe and Gareth Southgate as the manager.
Yeah, I
So that
gotta
was
say.
why he wanted him gone, because he said, well, the managers you're recommending are not progressive enough or good enough, really, to come and manage Manchester United. Um,
Yeah,
so
that's really not great. That.
um, but look, I think they've done a lot in a year. They've done some really unpopular things like sacking 250 members of staff. They've cut quite a lot of costs already in the business, but they've done some things as well. And the sackings, I think, are very sad. You've got players who are on, 300
Yeah,
grand a
that.
week, making crazy amounts of money.
I mean, someone like Dr. Pemberton and his group of friends would probably be applauding that decision, um, based on his choice of social events that he goes to. But yeah, I think that's poor. I think that's poor from whatever he's called. Yeah,
So Jim, uh,
yeah,
but he's. But they've done. They've look. Carrington has been substantially renovated. That will make Carrington a really first class facility again. They are
yeah.
making decisions on the future of Old Trafford and what's going to happen there. So they are doing things that the Glazers would not have done and probably wouldn't have done in the next decade either. I mean, Old Trafford is falling down; it's a wreck.
Yeah,
You
this
know,
is been a bit of an issue.
it's like a home. It's like a collector's home that people love, and it's beautiful, and it's got so many memories. But it either needs to be renovated or updated. You've got leaks through the roof. I mean, for a
Yeah,
club
poor.
of Manchester United's size and stature, it's not feasible. But
For your 8th place on average over the last 5 years, stature, yes.
um,
But anyway,
with that,
okay, do you want to jump in on Tom? Can I ask you, talking of managers, recently, can I ask you about a certain patriot of yours, compatriot of yours, possibly a better word, Sir Gary O'Neill of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Sir Gary O'Neill
Gary O'Neill no longer
sacked.
unemployed. Well, sadly, no longer has a job. Um,
Yes.
I think Wolves have been a really weird club for the last 2 or 3 years. They've sold a lot of their key players, and I think have been relying on. They've sold Matthias Nunez, they've sold, Ruben
Yeah.
Neves. They've let go of a lot of really good players. Jota going to Liverpool. Um,
Yes.
I mean, Max Kilman went to West Ham for 40 million. They let a lot of really good players go and haven't really reinvested in their squad. And
Yeah. Yeah.
Gary O'Neill did a really good job last year. They played some great football as well.
Mm.
Pedro Neto, went as well went to Chelsea for 45 million. So I think, look, it's not a surprise really that what's happened. They tried to play good football and keep to the principles of that, but they haven't invested in the squad. And we've seen this with other teams, right? You sell players and you try and buy, inferior replacements, and eventually your luck runs out. And I think that's what's happened here with Wolves. And I think Gary O'Neill is a really good coach. And will be back in the Premier League quite soon. Possibly at somewhere like West Ham, where he plays good football. Would have a really good squad there. Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not quite gone right. And look, they're on 9 points, right, out of after 15 or 16 games.
Yeah. I think you're bang on. It's a squad that is even with those. I
It's
mean, yeah, there hasn't been.
limited.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But even so, they do have some top players in there. I know City were interested in like Nuri in the summer, and Cunha is a top player. Scored again yesterday. But yeah, I can't understand why they've not reinvested. I mean, actually, I think the next manager to go may well be the Southampton boss now. Can you see O'Neill coming back this season? You mentioned West Ham there. Can you see him coming back in this season to straight back into another club? Because he is
I
good
think
enough. I think he is good enough.
West Ham or Everton look like the two sides that he could go to, from my
Yeah.
reckoning in the table.
I think they'll hold. I think Everton will hold on to Deitch for the season, and make a change in summer.
I probably would if I were them, considering where they are in the
Yeah.
league.
Yeah.
Like they're 15. I think those guys just need to stay up before they go into their new stadium. If
Yeah.
you're Everton, it'd be very foolish to move. I think it's a shame for Gary O'Neill. I think he was shortchanged at Bournemouth, where he did a really good job. But again, look, I can't really argue with the Bournemouth owners that Iraiola's done a really good job.
Yeah. He is done brilliant.
Bournemouth.
Yeah.
So I hope he comes back. I think he's a good young English coach,
Yes.
and is probably capable of managing a team in kind of mid-table in the Premier League. We saw him do it at Bournemouth and then at Wolves last season. But Wolves, to me, are going down this year.
Oh,
Like
do you think they will?
they don't. I don't think the guy they're bringing in, Victor Pereira, who's managing a Saudi at the moment, it's not a particularly inspiring appointment. He's the ex-Porto coach who has got some European pedigree, but I think Wolves are in real trouble. And unless they're going to go and spend 40, 50 million in the
They've got a worse board
January,
than you. I mean, this is all over the
they've got a
place.
very badly run ball.
I think they've been quite fortunate in the last couple of years with the sellings they've been able to make.
Yeah, I mean, they probably raised. I mean, Matt's killed.
Very nice flat in Ibiza or equivalent.
Yeah, I mean, they would have raised a lot of money.
Yeah, they could have bought purchase of that. But anyway, that's it for Gary O'Neill, and I do wish him well.
I do too, Gary. We hope to see you back soon in the Premier League.
Football teams.
Football teams. Yeah. What else? Are Arsenal still in the Carabao Cup?
Yes, we are. We've got Crystal Palace, who are on a bit of a run, 3 wins in a row. Palace on Wednesday. Home. We're home. But we've got a bit of a selection issue right now. I would like to see Saka rested, but I also would like to be in the semi-final of this cup. It's a bit of the Pizza Hut, whatever.
Might win a trophy. I mean, wow.
Give me strength for this guy. I mean, I think we'll go all the way in the chat. I've said it before. You can laugh me out the room if you want, but you're totally...
I will. Leave the room.
I think we'll win Champions League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup this season. And the Premier League, it depends on whether or not Salah gets injured.
Yeah, I still don't think you'll win a trophy, and I don't think you'll get in the top 4, but that's my position.
Wrong.
So, what's your prediction? Well, to close this out, let's do some quick fire predictions.
Okay.
On
Should we stand up for this?
No, we don't need to stand up. We're not singing the national anthem, but.
But you know what? On camera, you can stand up if you want to. You know, like in the Sky Sports studio when you get Micah Richards coming up and showing how to do the sort of body positions of defending.
Yeah, but I mean, I probably don't have the experience myself to do that.
You've played you played a good amount of games in the B team.
I did. It was a left, but I was a bit like Mazraoui, an orthodox player, left back, centre back, wing back.
Yeah.
People tell me I have a wonderful. Then comes running through and cleans him out from the back.
Mm.
If you look at the position of the 3 players again, a man has no gears about here or about 4 or 5 yards away.
Yeah.
You get back and you try and block the angle of the pass into Zertsky, who then would have an open ball, will be 25 yards out. Amad stops dead. He's desperate to get the ball back and attain for his error, so he clips the back of the heel. Amad goes down. So the thing there is,
okay, hang on, just a second. That was fantastic. I think that's going to be a regular segment.
Look,
Carabao Cup
Christmas
Christmas predictions live.
Wow, that was definitely a lot like a boy band being massively out of tune. But I guess with with things, you can change the pace of things like that. Wow. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, football. Put the ball in the goal.
Yeah.
Right. Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. What's your prediction?
Carabao Cup. I'm going to say it depends if Arteta rotates. I would like to see Saka rested. I would like to see Saliba rested. That means Kivior comes in and potentially someone called Raheem Sterling, who I haven't seen anything of this season, comes in. And so I'm going to expect Nwaneri will start, the 17-year-old wonder kid. I think that will give us enough. 2-1. 2-1 against an informed Palace side. Would you agree? Would you agree with that?
I would say that's not a bad prediction. I am going to go.
Oh my god.
I'm going to go Arsenal win on penalties. 1-1
Wow.
on the game. So Newcastle versus Brentford. What do you think the score will be?
To be honest, I think that's a hard one. Even though Newcastle have just won 4-0, cup tournaments are about moments, and I think if Newcastle they need to start their strongest team, and Isak is too good. I think he can pull them through any situation. I really believe that. I would love to see him at Arsenal. So I'm going to say 2-1 Newcastle again. 2-1. Potential penalties there.
I think Newcastle will win that game as well, 2-1.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Okay. Next, please.
The next game, I think this is probably a fairly foregone conclusion, but what about Southampton versus Liverpool? That's the other game.
Do you think they'll rest Salah for that? He's played every minute of every game.
I would assume they'll probably rest Salah, yes.
Yes. You know what? I'm going to say 1-0 because I don't think Liverpool won 3-2 at Southampton earlier.
Yeah, with Salah as well.
With Salah. The issue is the goalkeeping situation for Southampton. We've lost your camera.
No, I know that's deliberately. I've turned my camera off.
Okay. Why have you done that?
Because I wanted to. By Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 4-0 Liverpool. I just think Southampton are a train wreck of a club at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the final game is Manchester United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Well, I'm going to let you slightly preview that if you got the time.
I would go. I think, like United, it will be a tight game.
Yeah.
But I think, given the current form United are in, and where they're at,
yeah. Sorry, you're texting.
No, I'm not.
What is you doing then?
Considering my thoughts.
If it's a personal, is it a family related text?
No, it's not.
What was that then?
I think, look, Manchester United will. Tough.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a tough game, Spurs. Actually, they're so unpredictable. Only 2 wins in 9, but they're so hot and cold the way they play.
Yeah.
With that,
5-0. Tottenham just winning 5-0, but as you said, yeah.
So I don't know. It's a hard one to call.
What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking I need to buy some toothpaste because I think my wife has a suitcase. I think I need to buy some toothpaste after this.
I knew there was something up. Okay, well,
brave.
Yeah.
I think the game will be 2-2, and I think Tottenham will win on penalties. That's my prediction.
Okay, I think that's a fair prediction. I'll say the same. I think to be honest,
goals, I think I don't know. Anana's not a bad penalty save, and they've got Fraser Forster in goal. But I can imagine Forster being such a giant might be quite good at saving penalties.
Yeah, true.
So
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
my last comment. I think Spurs are not good against structured teams. And I think United look more structured than well organised. So it will be interesting to see. Yeah, but I agree. I think penalties. Tottenham to go through on penalties. Yeah,
What were the penalties we're predicting then in that game?
I am. Yeah. What? Yeah. Wait.
Um,
Anyway, you need to buy your
we
wife
shall
some
see.
toothpaste.
We'll see. Yes, I do have to go and buy some toothpaste because, yes, it currently is not in my flat. So, Manchester. Yes, look, we've got. Well, the next time we speak, we'll know what the Carabao Cup semi-final draw is, and maybe it'll be more Man United versus Arsenal.
Yeah.
As a
semi-final, which we might do a watch-along for.
We could do, yes. Although maybe we do that with cameras off, just for the sake of integrity of a friendship, and also professionalism of this podcast. Sunny Marum goal, heartbreak. I mean, you would start as big favourites.
Amorim looks over to Amorim. Arteta to Amorim.
Well, I think you need to relax. You need to relax a little bit more. Relax. So anyway, let's should we wrap it up there?
Yeah. Why not?
We've been going for about an hour or so, and I'm about to sneeze again. So please give me 1 second.
Sneeze count.
Like a dab.
Sneeze. Actually, okay, yeah. Wrap it up, then I'll see something.
Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed episode 22 of the Knock It Long podcast. This was slightly unstructured. We did it without videos. So I guess you've got to realise that when you podcast, you might do slightly quirky things. So thank you for listening. And if you don't listen to us, well, before Christmas or after Christmas, have a very happy Christmas. And yes, as we enter 2025, we hope you still continue to enjoy the Knock It Long podcast. And we wish you a very happy, festive break with your family, friends, and animals or anything else that goes on in your life. Merry Christmas and take care from the Knock It Long podcast.
Merry Christmas.